For me, there are various or different media pundits, personalities, outlets that I take to the bank when they put news and information out. These people happen to be very credible to me. Case in point, if Adam Schefter of ESPN puts information out there, you can pretty much take that to the bank and cash your deposit. It is true, it is factual, it is accurate, because Schefter, one of the few guys that has an assortment of sources. He's been well vetted in this thing for quite some time. He's probably one of few ESPN reporters that the NFL teams allow into the conversational room to break down these topics. So if Schefter puts something out, you bank on it, you believe it. You take it for what it is at face value. The same thing for Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. If he reports something, if he puts news out there, you take it for what it is, you believe it at face value. But there are also some sites out there that are kind of hit and miss, if you will. And one of those sites to me is Pro Football Focus. I mean, for their pro stuff, they're kind of, they're kind of head on, but for most of their college stuff, it's hit or miss when you talk PFF. And Brian Robinson, Alabama running back Brian Robinson, in his fifth year with the Crimson Tide. He's played in 52 career games, so he's got a ton of experience, B-Rob does. And the young man from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, former four-star in the 2017 class, trying to not only improve his NFL dream. He's trying to win a national championship, but not only just that, trying to improve his NFL draft value. And according to a graphic from a PFF, it had Robinson listed in its top 5 in terms of best running backs returning to college football for the upcoming season. Now, along with Robinson, it had Tank Bigsby of Auburn at number 1, Deuce Vaughn of Kansas State at 2, Kennedy Brooks at Oklahoma at 3, and Jerrion Ealy for Ole Miss at 5. B-Rob was at number 4. And to me here, the question becomes, can Brian Robinson be one of the nation's top backs? Can he be one of the best backs in all of college football? Now, the good thing for Robinson is we live in a day and age where the transfer portal tells you, if I'm not the main guy, if I'm not numero uno, if I'm not number 1, then let me take my ball and go elsewhere where I can be number 1. And B-Rob, not that type of dude. He surged behind a couple or a few really stellar backs for the Crimson Tides program when you discuss Damian Harris, Bo Scarborough, Josh Jacobs, and Najee Harris. B-Rob didn't pout. He didn't sulk. He didn't try to draw any attention to himself. He said, I'll take it for what it is. I'll serve behind these guys. I'll make the best out of the carries that I get, and I'll see where it goes to from there. In all 4 years he has been at Alabama, Robinson has seen his numbers improve and increase and go up, including this past year where he had 91 carries for 483 yards and 6 touchdowns. Nick Saban has even mentioned that, B-Rob could have gotten more carries. He could have gotten more responsibility a season ago. It was just the fact of the matter was, when you have a Najee Harris on a roll going at full momentum, you don't want to take from that. You don't want to pull him out of the game and slow your offensive pace down. So that was why B-Rob didn't get the opportunities, or the more opportunities that he could have gotten in the previous season. But what we know from Robinson is this right here. We know he's got power. He's got size at 6'1", 228 pounds. We know the brother's got power. We saw it in the national championship game against Ohio State. He ran guys over. He bullied guys to the ground. He stepped over guys. So we know he's got power. We know he has some speed. Probably not a whole bunch of breakaway speed, and that's an area of his game that he needs to work on. And he's doing that with Dr. Matt Ray, the Director of Performance Science for the Tide, and also new running backs coach Robert Gillespie, who played the position at the University of Florida from 1998 to 2001, if I'm not mistaken, under Steve Spurrier. So he's got the coaches to help him work on his speed to be all the more explosive. But he's got some speed, he's got power, he's got size. He's a really great pass protector. He learned that from his high school days at Hillcrest High in Tuscaloosa. So there are some things that B-Rob already has to his game. Now, the one area he's got to seriously improve on is catching passes out the backfield, being a receiver. And the reason why, it's become a requirement in the pros now. It's become a requirement in the NFL. If you're trying to be a first-round back, we're already seeing these NFL draft pundits talk backs out of the first round by saying, if you want to get a running back, get him in the second round, get him in the third round, get him in the fourth round. If you get a running back in the first round, you're making a huge, ginormous mistake. And we're already seeing this happen. So for B-Rob, it's become a requirement that if you're trying to be a first-round back, you have got to be able to be a complete player. And by complete, I'm referring to running the ball with power in between the tackles, having the breakaway speed to bounce plays outside, having the elusiveness, evasiveness, athleticism to do that, having the contact balance to not be brought down by one guy, one defender, one tackler, being able to be dominant in pass protection, but most importantly, being able to help these offenses in the passing game, in the passing attack, catching balls from the quarterback, coming out the backfield. B-Rob, across his 4 years of playing for the Tide, only 17 receptions for 150 yards. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to get it done there. So Bill O'Brien and Robert Gillespie, they've got to find a way to feature Robinson as a receiver, catching passes off the backfield and seeing what he can do from that aspect of the game. Because if you look at the last two running backs that Alabama has had taken in the first round, Josh Jacobs and Najee Harris, both did everything well. Josh Jacobs was taken in the first round of a 2019 draft by the Las Vegas Raiders. Najee Harris, of course, taken in the first round, number 24 overall by the Steelers in this recent draft. And both of these two guys ran strong between the tackles. Both of these two guys, speed, athleticism, breakaway speed, bouncing plays, outside explosiveness. Both guys having the contact balance, not being brought down by one guy. Both guys strong in pass protection. But the key here, people, both guys caught the ball exceptionally well coming out of the backfield and knew how to finish those plays. Harris in particular, the last 2 seasons at Alabama, 70 receptions for 729 yards and 11 touchdowns. So we know the formula for what it takes to be successful as a running back at the next level. But for Brian Robinson, Pro Football Focus, PFF, I mean, they hit or miss it. They hit and miss at times. But PFF, it's got B-Rob, Brian Robinson, among its top five running backs returning to college football for the upcoming season, listing him at number 4. The big question for him is, can he be that type of guy? Can he be that type of player? Can he be one of the top backs in college football? And most importantly, can he become the complete player to where, upon him pursuing the NFL draft and going through that process, he will have everything that he needs to have to be a number one back, to be a first-round back, to be one of the top backs taken here off the board.